Okay, we're going to be doing a chocolate explosion cheesecake. First we're going to make the crust. We have 2 cups of graham cracker crumbs, 1/3 cup of melted butter, and 1/3 cup of sugar. We've got our oven is already preheated to 300 degrees. So we're going to go ahead and start and just add 1/3 cup of granulated sugar right into your graham cracker crumbs and stir it up. And just add in that melted butter. Try to use real butter. When you're making a cheesecake, it's not worth skimping and using the margarine. You're not going to get much by cutting the fat when you're adding everything in there. Yeah, this is just going to kind of get to like a clay-like consistency. It's not going to be all mixed and moist. Start seeing those little clumps breaking up. It's almost going to be kind of like you're making a pie crust. Just get nicely incorporated. Spill it all over the counter. Put it into your 9-inch cheesecake pan. It's just a springform pan. As much of it in there. And then go ahead and get down there with your hands and just kind of smooth it out to the sides. Pack it down just a little bit. Keep it as even as you can. Sometimes when you do cheesecakes, you'll want to bring it all the way up on the sides. This one, it's not really necessary because we're going to be doing a lot of stuff to this cake. When you get it in there, make sure your whole bottom is covered. Press down. And we're just going to pop it in the oven for 6 minutes. Okay, next up, we're going to make a chocolate layer. For this one, you're going to need 6 1-ounce squares of semi-sweet chocolate, which is just going to be this regular baking chocolate that you get. You unwrap them, they come up in squares. Just to make it a little bit easier, because I'm not going to use a double boiler, I'm going to do the microwave process. I'm just kind of rough chop it a little bit here. Just get yourself a little bowl of it. We're going to cube up our butter. We got 6 tablespoons of butter. Again, we're using real butter. And we're going to pop that in the microwave no more than 30 seconds at a time. You don't want to scorch your chocolate. Once you get the chocolate burnt, it doesn't come back. It's not one of those things where you can go, ooh, I'll just add a little cinnamon or something and it'll be better. I'm going to go ahead and just pop this in the microwave, just on high, for 30 seconds. Still a few chunks in there. We're just about done now. Just want to do this until it's nice and melted and smooth. Make sure you get all that butter stirred in, incorporate all those oils. But this is after about a minute. And we're almost there, so instead of doing another 30-second process, I'm just going to do 15 seconds. Because I don't want to risk burning the chocolate. Just stir it all up, make sure it's all nice and smooth. There's no lumps in there, get it nice and incorporated. If you do it on a double boiler, it's really easy. You can just use a saucepan with a little glass bowl on the inside, some water between the two, put your stove on like a medium-low, and just slowly stir everything together on top of there and you'll watch it melt. It's a little bit easier than the microwave because there's not the guessing of burning the chocolate and stuff. But it takes a little more time, and if you don't have the glass bowl that fits right inside, it gets a little awkward because you don't want the bowl resting on the bottom. We've got that incorporated. 1/2 cup of granulated sugar. And just sprinkle it in there. Give it a stir, mix it up a little bit. We still have our oven at 300. So we're going to pop this in just as soon as we get it done. Just stir it just enough to get it all incorporated. And here comes the tricky part. We're going to add eggs. But you got to mix them up really quick once you get them in, because you don't want to scramble your eggs. And since you are working with warmed up chocolate, that's a possibility. soon as we get this all mixed up, we're going to bring in these 2 tablespoons of flour we've got here, and we'll just mix up just like we did the sugar, just till it's nice and incorporated. See, there's just no sugar showing, no flour showing. And I have just, to help cool that cheesecake crust down, I just popped it in the freezer real quick. So we're just going to pull it on out, and we are going to put that nice chocolate right over the top. You don't want to waste any of it. You can take this centrifugal motion and just get it all nice and covered. Then you're going to pop this back in your 300-degree oven for 15 minutes. I'll be back with that. Okay, now we've got our third step of the chocolate explosion cheesecake. We're going to use half of a cup of caramel syrup on top of that nice chocolatey layer that we put on top of the crust. And I don't know about you, but I use a really big cup when I measure, so I'm probably going to use this whole jar of syrup. And just pour it on. Just kind of swirl it around like we did before to get the chocolate all smoothed out and centered. And then from here, I'm going to take some refrigerated cookie dough, chocolate chip cookie dough. And this goes against everything I believe in, because I need a serrated knife. Because I prefer to make my cookie dough from scratch, so to buy it's just kind of foreign for me. But really, for something like this, buying the pre-made cookie dough is just actually going to be a lot easier. So just slice it in 1-inch rounds. And then once you get that done, you're going to kind of take them apart and spread them all through and push them into that caramel syrup. And make sure to get a nice, thick, heavy layer. And seal the sides. That's just our oven right there, just making sure we're back up to heat. So we took a break for dinner. This is kind of a long process because every step you do, you've got to cool. And I try to keep a shelf in the freezer. It's kind of empty, so I can pop things in and out of there. But you obviously can't pop them in there straight out of the oven. You're going to melt part of your freezer. So just kind of layer caramel and chocolate chip cookie dough just swimming right in it. So you can set it to the side for the right now. Don't stick it in the oven yet, just off to the side. Because now you're going to make your cheesecake batter. Your basic cheesecake batter is going to be 2 8-ounce packages of cream cheese, which I've already got in the mixer. And you're going to mix that up with 3/4 of a cup of sugar. Just regular granulated sugar. I am a big fan of brown sugar on everything. I think it gives a much richer flavor. But for a cheesecake, you're usually better just sticking with the granulated sugar. There's a little more oil and caramely flavor with the brown sugar, but it doesn't mix nearly as well when you're getting that whole baking thing going. And you've already got the caramel syrup in there, so make sure your cheesecakes, you gotta get your cream cheese is room temperature. So when you mix it, it gets a nice creamy consistency. And these nice spatulas and scrape it down. Get all nice and incorporated. We're going to add a teaspoonful of vanilla. And a teaspoonful is actually just about a capful. Go ahead and turn that back on. Then add 3 eggs. And let them go ahead and incorporate. Before you add the next one. Let that little motor just go. Scrape it down. One more egg. Add 1 more tablespoon of flour. Now I should just kind of sprinkle it in there. It doesn't get as lumpy then. Scrape down those sides. You can get all mixed up, nice and creamy. And the last thing we're going to add is a half cup of sour cream. It just gives it that rich, tart bite. That get all nice and incorporated in. And half cup's about 4 ounces. The smallest container you usually get of sour cream is 8 ounces at the grocery store, so just a half a container. This is starting to look really good. It's a nice creamy consistency. It's a tricky part. Always try to time this so I can pull the batter beaters out a little bit while they're still going, so that the motion will pull as much of the batter off so I can get as much of it to the pan as I can. So it's always handy to keep a nice wet towel right next to you because there's a lot of sticky stuff here. I'm going to take that cheesecake mix, batter, dough, whatever you want to call it, and just pour it right over the top of that caramel and the chocolate chip cookie dough. And scrape it all in there. Get it nice. Now after we bake this, we're going to coat it with a ganache. So if you get some cracks in it, or it just browns a little more than you're used to, your pretty presentation that you look for isn't going to be nearly as important with this one as it is with a lot of your cheesecakes. So I'm just kind of spreading it out a little bit, make it nice and even. Tap a little bit. Then come on over to the oven. I want to show you what I did. One of the things I like to do when I make a cheesecake is stick it in a water bath. And I have this small turkey roaster, and I just put an inch of water in there and let it heat up with the oven. Set that cheesecake right on the inside. And that'll just help it to bake a little more evenly, steam it, keep it a little bit moister. So go ahead and pop your oven. You got your cheesecake in there, and this is going to cook for an hour. I'll see you after that. Here we go. We're ready to make the final stage of our cheesecake. We're going to make a light ganache. Again, you can use a double boiler, or you can melt everything up in the microwave like we did earlier. take 6 more ounces of chocolate, and I've gone ahead and just chunked it up like we did before. This time it'll be 4 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream instead of the butter. It's just going to be kind of a really nice chocolatey glaze. And the whipping cream is going to have all of that milk fat and make it really creamy. Go ahead and microwave this for just 30-second intervals, just like we did with the chocolate layer put right on top of the crust. Nice and creamy. So we've got our cheesecake already. Got a couple cracks in it, but like I said, if you put that ganache on top, it won't matter. Once we get done with this step, we'll cut it with the cheesecake, or coat the cheesecake with the ganache. And then you refrigerate it for 8 hours before serving. So this may not satisfy any immediate needs, cravings, and desires. But once it's done, you'll definitely be happy. Just stir that chocolate and that heavy cream up. Get it nice and rich and this might take a minute and a half. Always make sure you do it really slow. You don't want to scorch that chocolate. Stir it really nice. And it melts really, really well. Yeah, there we go. Nice and rich and creamy. Just a couple more lumps to work out of it. I think we might be able to do this with just the heat that it's conducted already. And not have to pop it back in there. But you can see it's just a nice, thick consistency. This would be a great topping. You can use this kind of a topping on cupcakes or ice cream, really, if you want it. Should be all nice and smooth. Just pour it right out on top of that cheesecake. Smooth it out. Shake all that on there. It will harden up a little bit. Won't quite be a crusty shell. Maybe if you have some water condensation on your cheesecake, just go ahead and dab it off. Wouldn't be a problem at all. Just work it on there. It's really nice and thick. It's good coverage. And there you go. Have a chocolate explosion cheesecake. Thanks.